Hey everyone, today in this video I want to share my experience with you, that is my experience with two examiners who gave me 7.5 bands in IELTS speaking, and I also want to prepare you about how to introduce yourself in front of the examiner. So let's start without wasting any time. During the introduction part, the examiner could ask you various questions related to your hometown or what do you do, or the questions could also be related to your family also. So be prepared for these questions, and I am going to give you sample answers also, that how to answer these questions in front of the examiner. And the next thing is that I'm also want to tell you that sometimes that is there are some examiners who will not ask you the questions related to yourself. The examiner will start asking you the in general questions related to different topics. So don't get panic at that time, and don't start thinking at that time that the examiner does not ask you such type of questions. And don't start thinking at that time that you will lose your band score, because it depends upon the examiner also what type of questions they want to ask you. So on the other hand, there will be some examiners who will ask you the questions related to your hometown, that are the introduction questions. So be prepared for these questions also. So let's start, and how to introduce yourself in front of the examiner. So the examiner will first ask you about your name. So the examiner will ask you what is your name. You could say that my name is, for instance, my name is Kamalpreet Kaur, or that is my name is Kamalpreet Kaur. Or you could also say that I am Kamalpreet Kaur. So like this way the examiner will ask you, or the examiner might ask you, how may I address you, or the examiner could ask you, how can I call you. So these are the same questions. Don't start thinking that the examiner is asking you about your address. How may address means that how may the examiner could call you. So you could either say your other name, that it could be your nickname, or you could also say the short name of your full name. For instance, I will say that you can call me Kamal. So like this way you could say the short name of your full name. So next the examiner will ask you about your passport. So don't start saying the answers, that is hi-fi answers. The examiner is not noticing these answers. So the examiner will if the examiner will ask you your passport, then don't start saying that of course here it is. These are just to show off, in order to show off in front of the examiner. The examiner is not noticing that, and he is not making any kind of marks regarding that. So you could just simply say that yes sir, and pass your passport to the examiner. Or you could say that sure, so pass your passport to the examiner. And the next questions could be related to what do you do, whether you are working or you are studying. So you could say, if you are working, then you could say that currently I am doing I am just working in that company, or I am working in a multinational company. Or you could say I am working as a software engineer also. Or if you're studying, you could say that, for instance, I always say that currently I am doing online studies in order to compete in various competitive exams related to banking sector. So you like this way you could say that currently I am doing a master of commerce. You could say that currently I am studying bachelor of commerce. So don't say that currently I am studying BCom, or currently I am studying MCom. You have to just state the full form of BCom and MCom, because it is a formal test. So you should be formal at that time also. So you could say that currently I am studying master of commerce, or currently I am studying whatever you are studying at that time. And next questions could be related to your family also. So the examiner could ask you, who do you live with. So you could say that I am living with my father, mother. And don't start thinking that why the examiner is asking you the personal questions. These are not the personal questions, these are the general questions which the examiner could ask you to make you feel comfortable. So you could say that I'm living with my mother, father, my brother, sister. So like this way you could say. So the overall I could say that just always try to give simple answers, and even that is in part 1, always try to give answers in 2 to 3 lines, and don't use complex sentences in part 1, because these are the questions which the examiner is asking you in order to warm you up. So don't try to just show off your vocabulary and complex sentences in your part 1. You will get chance to show your vocabulary and even your complex sentences in part 2 and part 3. So try to keep it simple in part 1 and try to give answers in 2 to 3 sentences only. Now I'm going to share my experience with you. I still remember at that time when the first examiner gave me 7.5 bands in my IELTS speaking examination. So at that time my first examiner was very friendly, and he was even just giving me clues also at that time in order to extend my answers, and he gave me 7.5 bands. And on the other hand, I still remember my second examiner who gave me 7.5 bands in IELTS examination time. My examiner was not friendly, and he was not paying attention to me. He was just marking the marks in a notepad, and he was just asking me questions continuously. So it is okay if your examiner is not friendly, and don't get panic. Answer the questions in a confident way. So and don't lose your confidence level. Just try to answer the questions accurately, so that you will get your desired band score, instead of looking at the examiner whether the examiner is friendly or not. And the other thing which I want to tell you, that the examiner could interrupt you. Yes, the examiner could interrupt you when you are answering different questions. So don't get panic and don't get confused at that time. It is okay, and there are some examiners who just like to interrupt the candidates. So just try to answer the questions accurately, and try to answer the interrupted questions also. And don't start thinking why the examiner interrupted you, you will lose your band score. It is okay. It is you will not you lose your band score. It is okay that examiner could interrupt you. I still remember my examiner also interrupted me when I got 7.5 bands. At that time the questions was related to rewards, and I was answering that parents should give rewards to children in order to motivate them to do good things in their life or to be well behaved. But the examiner immediately interrupted me, and she asked me, don't you think that the rewards, that is giving more rewards to children, could lead them to a wrong way? So stick towards your answers, that you could not say that yes, you are right, the examiner, the rewards are not good for children. You have to stick at your answer. You have to say that as I said earlier, the reward should be given to children in order to motivate them. So like this way, these are the things which I want to share with you, my experience and how to introduce yourself in front of the examiner. And the last thing is, when you enter the venue, at that time you have to wait in the waiting room for 10 to 15 minutes before entering the examination room. So try to relax yourself, try to relax your mind and your body also. Try to raise your confidence level, so that you will enter the examiner room without getting panic. And the last thing is that prior to the day of the examination and during your examination day, that is speaking examination day, try to listen to various audios and videos also in English language only, in order to create an English environment around you. This will definitely boost your confidence, and this will definitely help you to answer the questions without getting panic.